What up, gang? We are in the Home Depot parking lot. We are getting stuff to make sliding gloves. I already have the gloves from Harbor Freight. We'll show those later. So we're just gonna kind of focus on getting, I don't know, what do they call it, Teddy? You're the slider guy.
We need some flex connectors, and we need one washer for Jared. I have one big old washer for him. Normally I use Tap Dance taps, but you gotta Amazon or eBay those, and they're expensive and it's a long process. Washers work fine. I'm just a bougie bitch.
Word. I also bought some cheap ass gloves because I probably won't slide that much. So no sense in buying fancy palm shit if I'm gonna buy $10 gloves. So
Fair enough.
all right, let's go.
All right, going to the electrical aisle.
So this is what Peter McKinnon feels like. Or Casey Neistat. That's probably more relevant.
So,
All right.
so we're gonna be heading towards the metal fittings. The metal fittings. I feel like this is the hardest part for me getting started, was finding this shit, because you kind of get a general idea, but 1/2 inch, it's a little bit too small, I think. Well, that's a tiny. I believe we're looking for these here, 1/2 inch.
Yeah, it's
90
not
degree.
very obvious what you're looking for because I would see this bottom half and be like, I don't need that.
Yeah, but it's this part you need, because it's like a finger. You need 1/2 inch for regular size fingers. If you got tiny fingers, sometimes you can go smaller with like pinkies, but I generally stay on these guys. So that's the first step. So we need 5. That's 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I like that you take the whole box like a
Every time.
like
Every
a true man.
Every time I take the whole box. So now we just need big washers. So we're gonna head to hardware. Where the big old bitches are.
All right, guys. Sorry, I cut it off because we couldn't find the washer we needed for my hand. So you saw the finger connectors. What else did we get?
The washer, the big old.
So we ended up with these guys, which you can see cover. There it goes. Some of my hand, most of my palm, but it's not quite as big as the other washer we're gonna use. You'll see that in a bit. And then we got these plates to cover. I guess like this portion, it's hard to point with one hand. That portion underneath my phalanges. So that's how we're gonna do it.
You can do it any way you want, really.
These guys, like a door hinge part.
Yeah, it's a mending plate for a door hinge.
So that's what we're gonna do. We'll see all these parts in a minute. But let's turn it around. Whoa! We are gonna go to Joann's now because the job is never done. We need both of us need to get some fabric, and I think there's a pretty good sale going on today, right?
Pretty sure.
So if not, we're gonna use coupons, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, we'll see.
Always use coupons.
Always, especially Michael's and Joann's. There's always Hobby Lobby. There's always a 40% off coupon. So always be using that shit. All right, we're going to Joann's.
So, the cosplay section. Not the most useful. Really, with haunt costumes, we've learned that like upholstery fabric is a lot better. The reason being is that it's built for wear and tear. I do enjoy fabrics like this that are textured, just black.
Let's see if I can get it good.
Yeah, it's got that creepy texture on there.
Yeah, that's gonna feel gnarly if somebody touches you, especially if you just coat that like in a light brushing of latex.
Yeah,
Would probably feel real gross and rubbery.
Yeah, you know, when we're looking for fabrics, we're not looking, for the most part, we're not looking to just make clothing.
Yeah. And
We're
typically,
looking for layers.
one thing that always throws me off and I struggle with, because I know like Ren fairs, that's a fun fabric. It's like a real soft. But shit like this, I feel like you'll see at Ren fairs and cosplay festivals. I guess they could do that, but it's just too bright for me and too clean. It probably would dirty up okay, but we try and stick to blacks, browns, ugly colors, or things that we know we can distress really well.
And like one thing for sure is that you see $33.99 to $39.99 from the Witching Hour, where you can get creepy cloth. Don't do it. Don't do it. You can just get beef cloth. Don't do it. Just dye beef cloth.
Beef cloth is the age-old haunt secret. You can get a big spool of it for
Dirt cheap.
dirt cheap.
I don't remember how much I paid for my giant spool, but I've used it for the last like 4 years.
Yeah.
For layering and stuff. You can dye it whatever color you want. Same with fabrics like these. If you really want that texture, dye it. You never get anything completed. Think wet. I need to go with that. Burlap. There we go. Now, this stuff. Black burlap, or really any color. It's worth its money. I use it as underlayers for everything. It just looks cool.
It's also cheap as hell.
Cheap stuff.
$3.99 a yard at Joann's. Alright, so this is the upholstery section, which has tons of cool stuff. So I'm not even sure what I want to get. I don't even need a lot. What is this? I don't even need half of that.
Half of that with a coupon, not too shabby. Mind you,
I
making
don't-
your own stuff isn't cheap.
I don't even need a yard, but I'm looking at stuff like this right now. You'll see why. We'll document our process. I think I can find something maybe a little better though. So home decor prints and saws. This is why you go to Joann's.
50% off.
Yeah.
Sale today.
Let's look. This is fun.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
I do like this. I don't know how I'd sew it on. That's cool.
I'd
Made like
rivet
a-
it or something, I don't know. Or
Yeah.
not rivet it, but grommet it or whatever.
We also use E6000 for fucking everything.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Future Jared here. I just wanted to say thanks for checking out this week's episode. I felt it necessary to keep it this length. It is a long one, so thanks for hanging out this long. And I felt the need to keep in this little clip where we talk about what we bought and kind of the things we purchased when we're going to build costumes. So I wanted to keep that here, even though it's a little bit long. It's going to make more sense with next week's video, where we kind of get into get down. Fucking cats. This is Archer. He wanted to join. Hi, buddy. Hello. So we wanted to say thanks. It's going to make sense with next week's episode, where we are going to be talking about character creation and putting costumes together and what to do if you're a volunteer haunter and you're trying to make your own costume and how things differ that way. So, yeah, thanks for checking it out, and we'll see you guys later.
We're back from our hauling of hauls for Joann's and Home Depot. Jared, mind you, these look ridiculous on me. They're Jared's gloves. He has tiny man hands.
Give me the other one.
The other one? Here.
I get in a shot, but I can close up. So I'm off camera, but you can see that these fit me very well.
No extra room.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah, you definitely want them to be form-fitting. These, they wrap around my palm because they're small, because they're Jared's, but this is just for demonstration's sake. What we got here are 1/2-inch flex connectors right here. So hand me one of the unpackaged ones, Jared. So the way that these come, just so you know and you're not confused, Jared's gonna show you the package because I wish we had this. There's the package.
Flex, they're 90 degrees.
Yep, and hand me that package. Cool. So when you pop this badass guy open, this big metal monstrosity that makes no sense to you, it has 2 parts. This part and this part held together with screws. You just gotta unscrew the screws, take it off, and you get this guy with these little tabs everywhere. There are 2 ways to do it, I've noticed. Some people do it differently than others. Me personally, I cut the tabs off. Some people just bend them back because you see if you put this on your finger, if you bend it back and bend these aside, it gives you like a weird side protection, but I don't find it necessary. I usually cut them off. For Jared, we'll do whatever he wants to do.
I'm gonna cut them off.
Jared wants to cut them off, so we'll cut them off. And some people even cut them in half. I don't, because I have huge fingers, but some people cut them in half so it just covers the fingertips, so they have a little bit more finger movement right here. It's not necessary either.
Yeah, and just so you can see, this is what the piece looks like normal. So it can throw you off if you're not looking for this. And you can see the tab right here, right there. Let's see if we can get it to focus a little. Yeah. So you just want to unscrew that, and this top piece is what goes on your finger. Oh, it's off camera. This top piece is what goes on your finger.
Yep, so those go there. And then for Jared's set, I normally use toe taps for tap dancing shoes, but we got a big old honkin' washer. This big guy. It's massive. That's gonna go right here on the palm. And then we have this. It's a door hinge merger, I think, or something like that. It's in your door hinge section. There's tons of these. This is gonna go flat on the palm, right there, just to give him basically protection where it's gonna hit the most on his palms. If he puts his weight on his like on the top of his palms, like the palm knuckle. I don't know what that's fucking called. And on the actual palm itself. So we have basically every contact point he could have covered, so it doesn't rip through the gloves. And that's it for this. We have 2 gloves worth. We're gonna shoot a separate video going over how we attach it.
Right. So we got fabric too. So I guess this is Teddy's. It's just upholstery.
Just a, yeah, it's a pretty big piece. That's the wrong side. Or is it? No, it's not.
No, this is the right
That's
side.
the right
That's the
side.
back.
Yeah, so just a big piece of like black, white, and gold upholstery to fit a theme that we're doing for MHC. That's the only preview you get.
Yep. And then this, I also got upholstery. I got much less because I don't need as much fabric for what I'm doing. So I just got, I think this was 9 inches.
Yeah, that mine was a yard.
Yeah, I got like 1/4 of a yard. So, not very much fabric, but I don't need that much. I also got this other kind of upholstery. It's like what you'd see on a fancy chair. It's kind of weird to see in the camera. I hope you guys can see that. That's cool. And then these tassely things, more layers the better. Any kind of danglies really set things off. So this was cool. This was on clearance. It was only $6 plus coupon, $3, whatever. So Joann's is pretty cool. They had a 60% off any one regular priced item. If you get their app, they've always got coupons. 40% off is the standard, but today they had a 50% off and then a 60% off and then 30% off a clearance item. So you can get cheap, good stuff if you time it right. And if not, it's fairly cheap anyway. So if you need something and you're working on it, just grab it. Those Hardy gloves from the sliding stuff, those were $6 at Harbor Freight, Alan Hops' favorite tool place. So I love Harbor Freight. You can get cheap stuff there. Don't get power tools there though. I don't know, sometimes Teddy got a drill that's all right. It just depends. Pay more for their power tools than the cheaper end.
Yeah, for
That'd be
sure.
the advice
That's
I'd
for
give
sure.
you. But you can get cheap stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. I also got 5 yards of my secret weapon, black burlap. Black burlap is my go-to for bottom layers on everything. It just looks cool. It's hard to see through it, so it can be a solid bottom layer, like for patches under pants and stuff. So I think it's worth it.
Yeah, on top of that, I think the pieces that we've already got that you don't see, I got a mask from Scared of My Shadow at Transworld this year. I think it was $340. So I spent that on a mask. I'm a mask guy. Teddy's a makeup guy. We have preference. Teddy's a mask guy too. Sometimes. He used to be. I'll put it that way.
I will say the first year that I went full makeup in probably 10 years was last year, and I just don't want to go back to masks.
Yeah. I think that may be the trouble I had with Hell, who's the character. Hal, as you say it with a southern accent, is the guy I think I've talked about it on the podcast and stuff. I had trouble being him, and I kind of wonder if it's because I didn't feel comfortable without a mask. I don't know why that matters for me. Maybe that's...
It matters for some people.
Yeah, but I feel more comfortable with a mask, so I'm a mask guy. I got that. I got some pants. I honestly, where did I get my... Oh, Kohl's. I got like some clearance joggers. I'm going to turn into hot pants. They're pretty cheap. We've talked about it before. There's a place called City Trends that's local. It has urban...
It's the best.
Urban wear for pretty cheap, like overstock urban wear. So they have some cool stuff. I got my vest from Hal at City Trends. So you can find some, if you just look around, you can find cheap, good quality stuff. Have you gotten anything else for your stuff yet?
Most of mine I'm gonna be making from scratch. I have pants. Those are pants. I'm like a jogger collector, so I'm also gonna be in joggers. My top half, I'm actually repurposing repurposing the vest that I used last year for summer, which if you went to MHC you saw it, or if you came to the haunt you saw it, or if you saw our promo video you saw it. Summer was my pseudo shamanistic character. I'm repurposing that vest because I don't save characters very often. It's not something really I'm about. I don't like put it in a box and save it. Sometimes I save like parts of it, but I'm gonna repurpose that. And other than that, the rest of it's gonna be mostly handmade. So
that's something we talk about too. Anything you buy is it's almost never finished. Even like the Scared of My Shadow mask, I'm gonna have to do some alterations to that, which is gonna hurt my heart because it's a handmade leather mask and it's very nice, but you never get anything finished. You're always gonna want to make modifications. The reason we do that, the best story I can tell for that is I got a mask from Dimsky Creations, and then 2 of those masks have been my go-tos for the last like 6 years of haunting, and they kind of died out, but at first you show up to the convention and there's like 3 other people with your mask on, and that hurts your soul a little. So from a creative standpoint, although those artists are cool, I always modify a little bit of everything. I'm sure there's a hot take where you shouldn't do that. It's an artist created that and you should wear it the way they wanted, but I bought it, it's my tool. That's my thought on it, so I'm gonna do with it what I want. I probably won't do much, even if it's just some light distressing. I don't want it to be clean.
yeah, for sure. And that's like a really great point, is that all of the things that we buy or we repurpose or we make, they're tools in our toolbox, just like sliding gear. Jared wants sliding gear just so he can have that tool in his toolbox. We are firm believers that like, if you are sliding, being a slider isn't a character. You can slide, but like, if someone asks you what your character is, I don't, like, the last thing I would want to hear out of somebody like that is like, I'm a slider, that's my character.
No, that's what you do. That's your shtick. That's your deal. That's how you scare people. But
That's not who you are, who your character is. At least it shouldn't be, and we for sure want to challenge people to think outside of that.
for sure,
There's a lot of challenges that we should probably put into place, I think.
absolutely. So we'll cut here.
Cool.
Come back.
Future Jared again, guys. I forgot we didn't shoot an outro. I'm fucking everything up. I'm messing it all up. What are you gonna do? Yeah, so make sure you tune in next week and listen to us talk about the differences between putting costumes together as a volunteer hunter and a normal hunter. Spoiler, there's not much of a difference, but we're gonna talk about it anyway, and things we do to make good characters. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you later.